Well, I'd like to use this developing design to illustrate some of the ways in which you can label species in the design. Each species is indicated by a symbol, and the symbol usually needs to be labelled in some way. If I zoom in here, you may be able to see that our user has put the botanical name as a text, as a single line text object, and connected that to a single line to the individual symbol. If I click the individual symbol here and have a look in the properties box, notice this is a willow. Its botanical name in part is there, and the variety is there, and the common name as well. And there's a code, and that information comes from an attached plant database file, which is just a simple text file. So I think you can see that the single text element, single line text element, let's delete it, is awkward. Let me undo there because I had the symbol selected as well. So let's remove those. Right click and erase, or hit the delete key on your keyboard, and you can see over here that the label, an alternative way of doing the label is on the right hand side, and it being the label is relatively complex. It's being drawn as a single element, a leader element. If we look over here in the properties box, it's a leader. The advantage of that leader is we can jump in there, select it, and then just edit the description however we like. And I'll just put a carriage return here, so that now reads a little more sensibly. I can even select the entity, and again in the properties box I can adjust the justification of the text description. So it's really helpful to be able to move them around easily. Things don't change. So I've continued around doing that. Malus domestica apple is actually not, sorry, that's our flexible leader. If we pick here, Malus domestica is the common name, the Bramley. So you could do what we did before, jump in here and just put the common name under here. And that's fine, and we can start removing some of these text labels that were put in. Working in this way gives you lots of flexibility. Clearly this symbol here is, it's a fruit tree because the name of the block is You Plant Fruit Tree 2, and it just says discovery, which I presume means that the variety had not yet been determined. But there are other variations that I'd like to illustrate. Can you see here, if we look in here, there are lots of individual symbols of Buxus sempervirens, the box. And this time we have a count. There are 20 of them. I'll again do the editing here and put a new line in, like so, and that in my mind reads better. But can you see I can grab this and just position it however I want. It's running across a couple of these other symbols, which I'm not particularly happy for. I try not to make our leaders cross other leaders because we may want to label these, and they're black currants. Not too difficult to count them. As I look at them, there must be 5, but this number that's associated with the label is done with a slightly different way. We'll go gCADPlus, plant schedule. We draw these types of labels in with the smart plant label, and down here select the symbol or adjacent copies of it and hit enter. Well, I'm going to change tack just a little. Importantly, I've floated the command line up so we get messages from gCADPlus, and it's important when using this SmartLabel tool to be able to see the messages easily. So we pick it up as we just illustrated via the gCADPlus drop down, pick the SmartLabel tool. Now we're asked to select the symbol or adjacent copies. We want to demonstrate this ability to count. So we've grabbed, in this case, of course, 4, and hit enter. And we can label it with a line or a leader. I find the leader works nicely. And the first point of the leader line, we can say here, and then we try and line things up reasonably well. And remember, this tool is going to pick the information from the plant database file and its association with this symbol. We want to pick up the code. I'll say no for the moment. Do you want to pick up the botanical name? Yes. Common name? Yes. And you want to pick up the count? So yes, we do. And we hit enter. Now the advantage, and we right click to finish. So let's right click now to finish. So there's our leader. We can move it around easily. We can edit it. And improve it just a bit. And then possibly change its justification. And in we go. Well, this is not a design that I've been working on, and we're providing a little bit of assistance from one of our gCADPlus users who's starting out with the tool. And what I wanted to do, or tried to do a moment ago, was to say we're going to use the SmartLabel tool, and so we want to count. So we select the symbol, that's fine. Click the second one, doesn't add, and doesn't add. And I'm thinking, why can't I select these? The answer is, as always, obvious. If I pick this one, it has the code BEC, a different code to this one, and different again to that. Each of these are different horticultural varieties of the blackcurrant. This is Ben Sarek. If I pick this one here, it's Ben Hope. So you can't do a multiple count because there's only one of each horticultural variety in here. So I hope that gives you some insight into the use of the SmartLabel tool. I much prefer it to this system of trying to put text within the drawing. Much better to have it outside, and that helps a lot when you go to displaying the drawing. Let's zoom extents here. By the way, to move the command line back, just do that. Just move it and drop it back into position. So can you see here the labels that we just put in are nicely scattered around the exterior of the design and can be read easily.